Hey everybody, welcome back to the Royal Read. I am so glad you decided to stop by and see what I'm reading on. But before we get started, you already know I have to invite people in. We are building a tribe, we are building a community. And so, if you're interested in being a part of the best, when I say the best, I mean the best community on these internet streets, you know what you need to do? Go down there in those settings, look around, find that subscribe button, and go ahead on and subscribe. And while you're in there, hit your notification bell too, so you'll know when I upload or when I just want to pop in and give you a thumbs up to fight my nemesis, the beast, the algorithm. Like I said, I've been winning, and it's all because of y'all. Also, I just want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to all of the readers who decide to support the channel by watching the commercials. Let me tell you, it really helps. So thank you. I know it's not easy, so thank you. Also, over there in the corner, that's our join button. That's for channel memberships. And if you choose to become a channel member and a part of the reading club, you will be supporting my channel to grow, to improve, and to continue. And I will be so grateful, so thankful, so over the moon appreciative to have that support. Also, if you just want to do a one time donation, look over there in the other side, over there in that corner, of the opposite corner. That's our super thanks. And all donations to the channel is always greatly appreciated. All right, y'all, we do have some super thanks. We do. And first up is Jane Press. Now, what can I say about Jane? Except she is a ride or die, and she is an OG as well. She has been with me since the beginning, and she has never failed in her support. She is always coming through to support, and I tell you, I appreciate it so very much. She is just a cornerstone in this community. She just is, and I am just so grateful to have her. So thank you, Jane. Thank you for the super thanks, but most of all, thank you for being here. Also, Angela May came through, and let me tell you, Angela is a ride or die as well. She's always coming through. She's always supportive. She's always in the comments. She is always down for the raw read. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I do. So thank you, Angela. Thank you for the super thanks. But most of all, thank you for being here. Next up is Jennifer Clark, another ride or die, another cornerstone of this community, just absolutely always coming through, always being supportive, always just in the comments, just dropping all kinds of knowledge. Jennifer is just everything. So thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for the super thanks, but most of all, thank you for being here. And next up is Fresh Face. Fresh Face is becoming a ride or die, coming through all the time. Yes, and just such a fixture in this community. I mean, a huge part of it. So I'm telling you, so grateful to have Fresh Face as a part of this community, a part of this tribe. Yes, she absolutely makes it what it is. She does. So thank you, Fresh Face. Thank you for the super thanks, but most of all, thank you for being here. All right, y'all, I'm going to play something and then we'll talk on the other side. want to give another quick thank you to all of the people who decided to come through today, and that would be Jane Press. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jane. Just thank you for being here. Really, your presence is everything. And Angela May, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for the super thanks. But your presence means so much. And Jennifer Clark, thank you, thank you, thank you for the super thanks. But your presence is everything to this community. And next up is Fresh Face. Fresh Face, thank you. Thank you for becoming such a big, huge part of this community. And I am so grateful and so thankful that you chose this community to be a part of. So thank you, thank you, thank you for the super thanks. But most of all, thank you for being here. It is everything. All right, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. It is time for the read. And y'all know when I am putting the read together, y'all know what I do. I hit these internet streets. And that's exactly what I have done today. I have been all over the place. Not so much to TikTok or Blue Sky or Spoutable. I mostly hung out over on Instagram and seeing what Meghan was up to, and then also X, formerly known as Twitter. I guess I could call it my hometown because I be over there so much. Yes, X, formerly known as Twitter. I lovingly call it the sewer, but let me tell you, I love the squatties over there. I just love the squatties over there. So I was over there today, and it's a lot of interesting things going on. It looks like, Charles. Charles is continuing to be drugged, and it's because of the royal family is so hypocritical. Yes, they wanted to try to make this case that somehow Meghan was this huge, big old, big bad bully. And we all knew, like I said, the squatters said it the whole time. Meghan was the least of anybody who you could blame or accuse of being a bully. In that family, get out of here. Charles, you telling me you got Andrew that he is one of the biggest bullies, and all of those people raised within that institution has some issues. I saw some conversations going on online, and people was just mapping out the problems that this family has. I mean, it is some problems. And it's all because of being raised within that institution and being so entitled and so indignant and so petulant. Yes. So, yeah, they want to try to paint this woman who has never had any problem or not one accusation that has been launched against her, of being a bully. And they built that case up, didn't they? But we're going to talk about that. Still going to talk about what's going on with Charles. We're going to talk about what William and Kate up to. And it is no surprise to nobody. I mean, none. And how they're trying to use Harry and Meghan to cover for William and Kate as usual, and trying to lecture Harry in so many ways, and trying to, I think, guilt him into coming back over there. Yes, but we all know that's not going to work. I'm telling you, because we know Harry has a good therapist, and I know she's telling him, no, you want your mental health, you stay where you at. Exactly. Well, listen, we got quite a bit to talk about, so let's get started. I'm going to start with this. I'm going to put this up. And I just feel that this particular squatter has such a great point. Yes, when you have all the evidence, it's all in a news article. And where is the investigation? That's what this squatty said. It says, when does the bullying investigation begins? Because we all know that they made that big hoorah about this supposedly internal investigation, how they were going to do all of this when Meghan was accused of bullying. But yet and still here we are, the news media pretending like all of this is new. This is nothing new. It is absolutely nothing new, but they want to feign ignorance and pretend like, oh, he's a bully. He's bullying his staff. Oh my goodness. And we all know that this right here is just the girls fighting because at the end of the day, we all know that they're all bullies. We saw it in real time, them bullying Meghan, bullying Harry. Meghan said it on the Oprah show how they bullied Harry. I mean, it was ridiculous. So stop it. So all I can say is, yes, where is the investigation when it comes to Charles and his bullying of his garden staff? Yes, I mean, they had this in depth article that just documented all of his, bullying behavior. But we get nothing except some people taking up for him. It's funny to me, I didn't see anybody taking up for Meghan except the Sussex Squad and Harry. Yeah, but now he gets all these people taking up for him, trying to squash it because they are trying to squash it. I remember in my last pop up podcast, I was talking about how it is well documented that Charles is a bully. That I had saw this on this documentary where he had pulled the sink out of the wall and that he had choked one of his butlers. And I knew I had saw that in a documentary. Well, one of the squatties found exactly that. And so I'm going to put up a picture and then I'm going to play the soundbite. And just remember that this was during the time, I think around in the 90s, maybe the late 90s, early 2000s, when this came about, when this happened and this documentary was made. And y'all listen to what these former employees were saying about Charles's behavior. So I'm going to play it, put a picture up, and after it's over, we'll come back and discuss.
With the Queen, instructions were verbally issued by the proper network. With Prince Charles, the big difference was that he went into this crazy system of memo writing, to the point where there's something that's dropped in the bin and you want it to be retrieved, ask the servant to pick it out of the bin. Prince Charles tended to write a letter saying, I think something's dropped in the bin, could you try and retrieve it for me?
Prince Charles also has a legendary temper, as his staff know to their cost. One of his later butlers was Ken Stronach, who sold stories to the press which revealed what his master was like to serve.
Charles and Ken Stronach were away for a weekend with friends and staying at a friend's house. And Charles was trying to put his own collar studs in, which he doesn't normally do for his formal show. And he dropped one of the studs and it sort of bounced around the sink and went down the plug hole. Charles, in a fury, just ripped the sink from the wall, threw it to the floor, shattered it into thousand pieces, retrieved the stud, and Ken had to put it in. And then when Ken had put it in, Charles grabbed him by the throat. Well, he said, you do understand, Ken, I just have to let this out. Well, Ken was so terrified, he sort of backed out of the room, but he didn't know the geography of the room, so he backed into a cupboard and stayed there for 10 minutes before letting himself out.
Prince Charles expected his butler to keep visits to Camilla a secret from the princess.
Paul just turned around and said, well, are you expecting me to lie for you, Your Royal Highness? And Prince Charles said, well, yes. Yes, I am. And went into this histrionics about being the King of England, the future King of England, the Prince of Wales, and you will lie, stamping his feet, and then threw this book in Paul's direction.
And Prince Charles is one of the most demanding.
Charles likes, there's a particular dish he likes to eat when he goes out hunting, which is softly boiled eggs and Scotch whisky, waiting for him when he comes back. And of course, they never know when he's coming back. So a good half an hour before he's due back, they start boiling up a batch of 20 eggs, 3 minutes exactly. And then if he hasn't arrived in those 3 minutes, they throw them away. And they start another batch.
And there you have it. Yes, a squatty went and found it. And this is the behavior that they have known about for years. For years. I mean, and then had the audacity, had the cojones to try to paint Meghan as a bully. I mean, when you think about it, it is mind blowing that they really thought that they were going to get away with that and would have gotten away with it without the pushback. I mean, and now here it is for everyone to see. I mean, but let's be honest, it has always been there for everyone to see. They are just feigning surprise now. What? Oh my. Oh no, he didn't. And they have known this was Charles the whole time. They know who William is. They know who Kate is. They know who the horse is. And they know who Meghan is. But this is a calculated smear campaign. And did you hear the part where Charles told his butler that he expected him to lie? They expect these people to lie, to absolutely help them to perpetrate this smear campaign against Harry and Meghan. It's expected of them. And they have no problem in obliging in that request. Yeah, so when you say that they are liars, or when we say that they are liars. And they're willfully lying. They are doing it for the crown. I mean, these people paint lying, deception, dishonesty. Yes, all that. That's expected of them. They are serving the crown. That's how Charles and that whole ilk get these people to do whatever they want them to do. This is how the smear campaign works, the inner working of the smear campaign. Because I have heard people say in conversations, why do they do that? Why do they lie for them? Because they gaslight them into believing that they are serving the crown, that they are being patriotic, that they are protecting the crown. And so they do it. They absolutely bootlick and show deference to these people, these less intelligent, these people are so mediocre, it is laughable. I mean, Charles is an old man walking around with a teddy bear, but these people bow to him. Yes, it is crazy, but it's true. So, yes, they lie because they absolutely brain F them into believing that this is their patriotic duty and is expected of them. You just heard that in this documentary. Charles expected them to lie for him while he cheated on his pregnant wife. Yes, he expected them to do that. Isn't that something? I'm just saying. All right, y'all. The squatty that posted this is a repost, and the original post says King Charles doesn't have any respect for his servants. Never have. Absolutely not. Now, when you would choke a butler out, pull a sink out of the wall, and scare and frighten him to the point where he backs into a cupboard and stays in there for 10 minutes until he can come out. Yes, I would say that you have no respect for him or them. Can you imagine how William treats his butler, his servants? Can you imagine? We have heard it time and time again how incandescent he is with rage. Can you imagine? We have saw how he has treated Kitty Cat in public. Can you imagine how he treats her behind closed doors and the servants? I bet my opinion, I bet he is a tyrant. I'm just saying. And then this squatty that reposted this said, here is a video of his servant going on record talking about him bullying them. And that's what I just played, y'all. This is on record. And now, GB News and all of them just pretend, the ones who have enough courage to talk about it, because I hadn't saw a whole lot of them talking about it. They put the kibosh on this story. But the Telegraph and GB News is pretty much all I have saw. But then they want to faint like, oh my God, oh my God. They just get the vapors. How? I didn't know. I didn't know. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. It's been out there. Everybody has known about Charles and all the rest of them as well. That is the reason why they could never sell Meghan being a bully. They couldn't sell it. It absolutely stayed on the shelf. Nobody was buying it except the fevered-minded derangers, all the trolls, all the toadies and the minions, all the envious, bitter, jealous, old toe-down skanks and hags. Now, yeah, they were buying it. But rational people never bought that because you just don't turn overnight into a bully. Meghan had lived her whole life and nobody ever had a hint of trying to make her out as a bully. And all of a sudden, when she gets into that family, leaves it, and announce that they're going to have an interview with Oprah, all of a sudden, Meghan is a bully. Stop it. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this up. And this particular article was published back in 2024. And they were talking about how Charles advertised for a palace housekeeper's job at below minimum wage. So, in that article, that hit piece that they just that just landed on Charles yesterday was talking about he didn't want to pay anybody any money to do this demanding job. I mean, it is crazy to me that they feel like it is some kind of privilege. You don't have to eat. You don't have to feed your children. You have worked for the king. You're working for the king. This is how these people think. This is how this institution raises these people to think. And I believe gaslight the general public into believing that these mediocre people are greater than them, that somehow their blood is different than theirs. They're blue blooded. Yeah, okay, right. And this particular squatty posted that article from back in 2024 and said this: can the British media stop pretending to have some kind of amnesia or something? This was back in October 2024. Charles was advertising an underpaid job and was forced to bump it up when he was called out. This is what the royal family does. Exactly. And gaslight the public into believing that somehow they are an asset. That by having them, it somehow makes Great Britain special. Stop it. Stop it. But one thing I can truly say, it seems like the British public is starting to wake up to the grift, to the scam. I'm telling you, giving all that money, allowing all that money to go out of their public coffers to this family, and they do nothing. They do nothing. Wait till you get a load of Kitty Cat and Willie Leaks when they are sitting at the top, at the tippy top. They're not going to work. All they're going to do is continue to drain the finances from the British people. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this one up. And this particular squatty makes a great point. They say, now imagine if they had a single example of their made up allegations about what Meghan supposedly did. Now we've seen that they are capable of listing issues if they've actually happened. Whoever was behind opening this lid on the king's bullying behavior, thank you. You just confirmed to what we knew already that Meghan has always been innocent. Meghan never bullied a single soul. It was the king's staff that has PTSD. It was the king's staff that needed therapy. As Meghan said, a lie cannot live on forever. Truth eventually catches up. Exactly. And it has caught up because if an email causes you to have PTSD, what does Charles's behavior cause you to have? And we know William is even worse than him. Come on now. We know that. But yet and still, they tried to sell us on Meghan is a bully. That horse is dead, buried. If they try to dig it up to beat it, we are going to beat them. Just receipt after receipt after receipt. I'm just saying. I'm gonna put this up, and this particular squatty said an exodus caused by Charles, and no one is calling him a bully. All I can say is, very suspicious, isn't it? Very, very suspicious. And it says, no wonder Meghan pays them dust. Exactly. Exactly. All that they did to her, trying to scandalize her name, trying to break her down, trying to destroy her with this vicious, vicious lie and accusations towards her. And we all knew who the bullies were. I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm gonna put this up, and we all know that this whole hit piece is a result of the girls fighting, the Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace going at each other. And this was a blow from Kensington Palace, I believe. And this particular squatty said this: Willie and Kitty should be careful. Willie's mommy, Camilla, is coming after them swinging. And let me tell you, I believe that to be true. And why? Well, I'm going to put this up. And looky, looky, looky. Somebody has spilled the beans that Kitty Cat and Slumlord Willie are on vacation again. And they are being environmental hypocrites. I kid you not. This particular squatty posted an article that says Prince William and Kate Middleton on private holiday in, I guess it's Keflona? Yes, in Greece. They're out there on a yacht, flew in on a private jet. And yet and still he wants to preach to us about about the environment. I mean, that's the reason why nobody takes these two seriously, because it's all performative for them. Because when the rubber hits the road, they don't do any of that. It's all about the money shot. And this particular squatty that posted it said this: well, 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 is this what Jeremy Vine's tabloid show was trying to distract from the poor believes? Lazy William and Kate are on the seventh holiday of the year. Now, I don't know if it's the seventh holiday, but I know it's about five. It's about five, especially for Kate, because Kate went, I think, when Willie didn't go one time. But yes, I think this is the fifth holiday for her and maybe the fourth for him. And this particular squatty tagged Graham Smith, who is a anti-monarchist campaigner. And then it went on to say taxpayer funded luxury yacht cruising the Greek Isles. Exactly. This is what they're up to. They don't want to do those investitures like Anne was complaining about that she has to fly in, usually take a helicopter to fly in to do his work. These people do not want to work. They don't like the job. They just like the perks. And it is going to be their undoing. But I digress on that. I believe that Charles and Cammy dropped the dime on William and Kitty. Yes, told out at them for the second time. Remember, this is the second time their vacation has been outed. No, the third time. Third time their vacation has been outed this year. Yes, when she went skiing with her family, that was outed. When they went skiing in France, that was outed. And now this one. Yes, and if it's another one, y'all correct me in the comments. But I count 3 times, and I believe Cammy and her tampon king has dropped a dime on them. And all I can say is, it is delicious. And I'm gonna put this up, and even Kaiser from Celebrity wrote about this. Now, I did not read the article. I did not because I'm more interested in the messy comments. Yes, I am more interested in the messy comments. And one of the squatties came up under Kaiser's post and said this: Workshop Willie and his lazy clothes hanger. Y'all, I cannot. I'm telling you, that name just gives me life. His lazy clothes hanger. I cannot. And it goes on to say, are on their 7th holiday. No wonder Princess Anne raised concerns about her lazy, idle nephew. Exactly. And you cannot blame Anne. Anne is 75 years old, saying that she's going to work until she's 90. I kid you not. She says she might slow down when she's in her 80s, but her plans is to work until her 90s. Okay, Anne, go get them. But we all know the work is not that strenuous. She's not digging ditches. But I digress. You can't blame her for wanting him to do more. He is the heir, for God's sake. My goodness. And this particular squatty said on the topic, and after 2 days of hard work, she went on a 4th vacation this year. Now, like I said, it's not the 4th or 5th, I must admit. And then this other squatter came up under that post and said, apparently the same Kate Middleton who is too sick to visit a charity for 30 minutes can spend hours in the heat at Wimbledon 2 days in a row. Exactly. 2 days in a row, and she was done. She had to get on a yacht in the Greek Isles. I mean, I don't know how long they expect the people of Great Britain to put up with this nonsense out of her and Willie, because it is going to leave a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth, a bitter taste in a lot of people's mouth. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this one up, and it is this post for me. Yes, this one right here. It says, Mr. Earthflop. Prince William doing the most to protect the planet. Private jet, a luxury yacht, average super yacht annual emissions equivalents to 860 years worth of an average person's carbon footprint. There you have it. He is a fraud. He is a con. He is a liar when he gets up there and talks about he cares about the earth. If you care about the earth, why are you going on vacation and putting up 860 years worth of an average person's carbon footprint. Stop it. That's the reason why every time I see that earth flop, I be like, side eye for me, side eye for me. It is all performative. It's all about the money shot. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this one up. And this particular squatter reposted that same article and said this. If you're wondering why there's a uptick of UK obsessed articles about Harry and Meghan, it's because Prince William and Kate are on their sixth vacation in 7 months. I'm telling you, the squatters are giving all kinds of numbers when it comes to how many vacations they've had. Now, my count is like 4 or 5. Y'all tell me in the comments how many y'all think that they have had. But squatters are saying 5, 4, 7. I mean, it's all over the place, but they have had a lot. I'm just saying. And then it says they'd rather be plebes apoplectic over the Sussexes than question why they are paying for endless vacations. Exactly. Exactly. And they don't give Harry and Meghan any public money. They don't get taxpayer money. Why are you so interested in what they're doing? But we all know why. Using Harry and Meghan as scapegoats. They had this question on Jeremy Vine today about, do you think Harry and Meghan should come back? I mean, Harry and Meghan absolutely has made it perfectly clear that they have no desire to come back. Why are you putting this question up? I'll tell you why. Because you're trying to cover up for Charles and his bad behavior. I mean, his bullying. And you're also trying to cover up for William and Kate being on vacation for the 77th time. And I know it hadn't been 77 times, but we squatties are just just throwing some numbers out there. All we know it's been a lot. But yes, using Harry and Meghan again to cover up for them. And it gets old after a while. It really does. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this one up. And this particular squatty posted that Jeremy Vine nonsense. Yes, I mean, put a post out talking about would you welcome Harry and Meghan back. Now, I watched a little segment about it. Now, the lady that was on there, I think her name is Narendra Kaur. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And she did a great job defending Harry and Meghan. She really did. But my whole thing is, why is the question being asked in the first place? Why? Because look what it says. Would you welcome Harry and Meghan back? In a new survey, only a quarter of Brits said that they would be happy for Prince Harry to return. Meanwhile, just 12% said the same for Meghan. Would you want the Sussexes to return to the fold? Well, what they're forgetting is it's a lot of people who really care about Harry and Meghan don't want them to go back over there. So it's not a big flex that these numbers are so low because I don't want them to go back over there. It is so many people who support Harry and Meghan know what going over there would mean for this couple. And of course, they don't want them to return, but they're trying to spin it as a negative when in actuality, one of the callers that called in and also the this woman, her name is Narendra, she said it also. That you can like Harry and Meghan, you really like them, but that is the reason why you don't want them to return. So yes, this is the reason why. People who really care about Harry and Meghan don't want them to go back in the lion's den, don't want them to go back in the snake pit to get stung and bitten over and over again. So this is nonsense. And this particular squatty came up under it and said, UK taxpayers, are you aware that Kate and William are on another holiday? Because this is a distraction. And this particular squatty bringing it back where it needs to be and said this time they're in Greece. Notice the distraction to the lazy Kate and William, who will do one public engagement, the talk about work, then talk about workload, then have a holiday. How many is that this year? And then this particular squatty tagged Jeremy Vine. Yes, focus on that. Focus on the ones that you're paying for, because Harry and Meghan is good. And I don't know any of their supporters want them to go back over there. So like I said, these numbers are not a flex. They're not. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this up and look what these people are still writing. As you can see, this particular squatty has posted 2 stories that they are just literally begging Harry to come back and trying to bully him into coming back. Look what it says. Prince Harry must make peace now before Prince William becomes king or risk exile. And I must say, when I read that, it puzzled me because how can you be risk exile when you already has exiled yourself? It's as if they think we're stupid and we don't have the ability of memory because Harry and Meghan left on their own. They exiled, they self-exiled, if you want to put it that way. They left. And they said after a year's probation, well, trial, a trial period, that they didn't want to come back. Yeah, so what are you talking about? And look over here, the other one says Harry's last hope. Yes, talking about he needs to do it right now. He needs to do it right now while Charles is still alive. And that is so ridiculous. This particular squatty said this that posted it. The UK tabloid headlines reek of desperation. Harry, come quick. This is your last chance. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Do they really believe that these transparent attempts to blackmail spook Harry into returning to the fold? This is pathetic. Harry is in the driver's seat. Try harder. Where is the lie? Because one thing that Norenda, who was on the Jeremy Vine show today, one point she really made just absolutely with Chef Kiss was that Harry and Meghan do not need the royal family. The royal family needs Harry and Meghan. Now, like this particular squatter was saying, Harry's in the driver's seat, and Harry is driving away from them as fast as he can. He is kicking rocks on every one of those palaces over there, leaving as fast as he could. Him and Meghan were when they left in 2020. Why in the world would they ever want to come back? But they always want to present themselves as something to be desired. Talking about Harry's last hope. Harry doesn't have any hope when it comes to that family over there or returning to royal duty. He don't want to do that no more. He just do not want to do that anymore. He wants to raise his family and be happy in his new adopted home of America. And this other squatty came up under it and said this. Harry said this about the BS about him wanting to come back and that he has to do it fast because his brother will want to bar him as king. They're delusional. Where it's a lie. And this popped up in People magazine as a response to this. And People magazine, was it People magazine or was it GB News? I can't remember, but it says, well, however, a spokesperson from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex exclusively told GB News, it was GB News, in response, it's funny how people who know the least about him always have the most to say. And the source of this article was Tom Bauer. And we all know what a lying piece of crap he is. So, do I believe that the Harry and Meghan spokesman spoke to GB News? I don't know. But whoever spoke to them gave them a great answer. Yes, because it does seem like the ones who know them the least has the most to say about them. All I can say is, whoever it was, chef's kiss. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this up. And as you can see, look at this picture. This is what they wanted for Harry. Harry to walk behind William and Kate and to prop them up, to be their scapegoat, to be the first one that gets thrown under the bus, not to have a life, never to have a life, never to have a family. This is what they wanted. For him to die a broken man, never ever having anything of his own, living somewhere in a shack. This particular squatter said this to royalists: Prince Harry was just a tool to be used and abused. They'll never forgive him for refusing to sacrifice his American family's health and well-being to prop up William and Kate. Royalists only ever liked a Harry who was broken and controlled. They'll never accept his freedom and joy. Where is the lie? We have saw it time and time and time again. You know, it was this royalist made a comment and the squatties just came in and his comment was about Margaret. Margaret was the Queen's spare. And she died a sick, broken, unhappy drunk. She did. And that's what they wanted for Harry, you know, because her being as broken as she was, the contrast between her and the Queen was stark. And it propped the Queen up. It did. And that is the role that these sick people really feel belongs to Harry. I kid you not. And speaking of the royalist that made this comment, this is what he said. I'm just going to read it. And his name is Lee Cohen. And he said, in case you need a smile today, Princess Margaret didn't up and leave when she didn't get her way like pathetic Harry. She was an invaluable relationship for her sister and therefore the monarchy. And boy, did he get roasted. Did he not get an education? Because he clearly needed one, because he didn't know anything about Margaret's life. This squatty came up under it and said this: is that why she drunk too much and died young as an alcoholic? They ruined Margaret's life. Exactly. She died a drunk. She died broken. And now they're mad with Harry because he's not willing to make that sacrifice. I mean, it is ridiculous to me. And then this particular squatty went and posted a picture of Margaret in her declining years. And there's Harry with this suit, this ill-fitted suit. They could care less if Harry's suit even fit him. Look at William's suit, perfectly tailored. Harry's suit, just so big. Look at the pants. You can tell they're being held up by a belt. And that is exactly what they wanted for Harry, that's sitting in that wheelchair. That's Margaret right there in her declining years. She was the Queen's baby sister, baby sister. And she absolutely died 20 years before the Queen. The Queen lived 20 years after Margaret died. And her mother, you see the lady on having the walking cane, that's her mother. She died, I think, at 101. And Margaret died before she died. Now, it was only a few months difference, but Margaret died before her mother died. And this is something to me is telling. Well, in the royal vault where the queen is buried, it's a family vault. She is buried with her family, which is her father, King George VI, her mother, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, and her and Philip are together. And so is Margaret. But Margaret is cremated. Why? Because they did not have room for her. They absolutely did not make room for Margaret. So she had to be cremated in order to be in the family vault with her family. I kid you not. Everybody else is intact, but Margaret is the only one cremated, and that was the only way she would be allowed to be in the family vault. I'm just telling you what it is. So y'all tell me what y'all think about that. To me, that is typical spare treatment. And the squatty that posted this picture said, how the royal family prefers spares. Princess Margaret the spare was crippled to a wheelchair and died before her mother and younger sister, Her Royal Highness the Queen. Just what I said. Yes, she was the baby of the family, and she died before anybody. And another squatty came up under this post and said, Princess Margaret drunk herself to death. Period. Yes, she drank herself to death and smoked, just chain smoked cigarettes. She did. And the result was strokes and ill health and an early death. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. I'm gonna put this up and look like Hello Magazine is on the BS again. I also saw something, article like this in People. People, we all know it's always on the BS. And this is what it says. Kate Middleton stays up late baking Prince George's birthday cake every year. Yeah, that's the gaslighting that they want us to believe, that this woman stays up late every year and bakes George's birthday cake. And we all saw the example of her cooking. Do y'all believe that? And this squatty came up under that post and said, she can't even make a pancake. And you expect us to believe she bakes a cake from scratch for George? Please. Yes. And then they also want us to believe that she makes jam too. Yes, they want us to believe that she's really just like Meghan. Yeah, she's just like Meghan. She bakes, she makes jam. Y'all remember she said she was going to give somebody her jam recipe for free. Y'all remember that? And ain't nobody saw that jam recipe because we all know that it doesn't exist. But yeah, so now they want to try to blow smoke up our skirts and make us believe that she's up late making a birthday cake. Sure, sure. And then, of course, some of the squatties had to come in and remind this writer or whoever posted this nonsense for Hello Magazine that we have gotten an example of Kate's, her cooking. And that was the time she tried to cook a pancake. And this particular squatty posted a picture of that pancake and said this: "That's a blatant lie. These are the pancakes she made. No way is she baking anything." I mean, they just absolutely just do too much sometimes, don't they? They gaslight too much sometimes. And then this other swatty came in and said, "I'm sure she did, clown." Exactly. This woman hadn't baked the cake. And at the end of the day, I really don't care. I really don't care if she baked the cake or not. But it is the gaslighting for me and the trying to co-opt Meghan's aesthetic for me. Yes, you never heard of any of this until Meghan started her lifestyle brand. I just can't. And I'm gonna put this up, and this squatty said, "I guess when someone goes on vacation after attending Wimbledon tennis match or after parading in a gilded horse-drawn carriage or simply waving to the commoners while walking to church, the media has to make up relatable stories about you so the taxpayers who fund you don't revoke." I tell you, I think that time is going to come. All this laziness and all of the money that they spend, it is disgusting. Especially now, they're on their, 45th vacation? I know I say a different number, but the squatties say a different number every time too. So I said, why not? We'll make it whatever. But I really, really do think it's about the fifth one. And we are in the sixth month or seventh month? Seventh month. Yes, it is ridiculous. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this up. And Prince Harry has sent the tattoo parlor owner a thank you. You know, the one in New York where he went to film that promo with Jelly Roll? Yes, for the Invictus Games. He sent him a thank you letter and he posted it. And this particular squatty is talking about that and says this: "Harry and Meghan and their thank you notes. Harry and Meghan at their court are kind and appreciative. Prince Harry sent a thank you note to the New York tattoo artist who refused to infringe on his privacy when the UK press descended on him. And a la Sussex's way, Harry wrote to thank him." Yes, he did. So yeah, and like I said, he posted it, and it was just really, really nice. And he was really, really nice. He really was. All right, y'all, I'm gonna put this one up, and it looks like Scammy. Scammy is in trouble again. She's not paying her bills, and so it has landed her in court. She owes about $3,694.46. And so while she's worrying about Megan, she needs to be worrying about her own finances. And this particular squatty posted all of the court papers because we are petty that way and said this: "When will scammy Samantha Markle learn hiding from her debts end up costing her more? Broke ours itch." Yes, we are petty. We are petty. When it comes to that Markle family, I don't think anybody can be more petty than a squatty. I'm telling you. And we could care less about that family. We give zero F's about any of them. And every time we can find where they have faltered, or fail, it is a good day. It is a happy day. Because one thing about Scammy, her only claim to fame is that she is Meghan's half sister. And she can't even do that well. She can't even pull that one off. All right, y'all, I'm gonna put this one up real quick. And they were discussing Prince Harry on LBC. That's all they seem to have to talk about is Harry and Meghan. And a caller called in and said, I have a bet for you. Prince Harry will be the next king of England. Is anyone ready to take caller Socrates up on his wager? Well, yes, it was a caller who said he said really, really good things about Harry and not so good things about that family that left behind over there. But he did predict that Prince Harry was going to be the next king of England. And Lord have mercy. I tell you, the squatties are not happy with that one because we all know what that would mean. And of course, it is just about impossible. But this particular squatty reposted this segment and said, this is actually dangerous. Don't wish this on Prince Harry. After living in America and building a great life in Montecito, the Duke of Sussex has no interest in being king. And the thought of it alone will terrify Meghan Sussex. She narrowly survived that family and its media, where it's a lie. Because to be in that fishbowl of a life, oh my goodness, they can have it. I'm just saying. And I'm going to put this up, and I just thought it was such a great post, and I just wanted to share it. And this particular squatty said, Queen Elizabeth II may not have been perfect, but she wasn't blind. She knew Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, was the most capable, poised, and impactful royal wife out of the entire lazy and entitled bunch. She passed on with peace, knowing her favorite grandson was finally in good hands. Now, I agree with this particular squatty that Queen Elizabeth, she was not perfect, but I really do believe she loved Harry. I do. I'm just saying. And remember this, while all this nonsense is going on, look what Meghan posted. This is Meghan. Meghan is relaxing on the beach with her bottle of wine. And I'm sure Harry has made it back from Angola and is right there with her as they watch their children play along the coastline. So they have a great life. So as for those left behinds over there, let them cook. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.